Hey guys, Analog Man here again for another deck profile, and as you can tell from the title, we are finally uh, trying out D-Brigade. Originally, I actually had played this deck actually back in set 4. The deck was kind of it wasn't complete. Let's go with that. It was lacking the blocker. It was lacking the security aspects to it, the good removal. It had some of it, but it didn't really take off until like set 5 and after the starter decks kind of started getting in. And especially with how this deck has been topping, I wanted to kind of show off this deck. This deck profile is in all ways. It is actually not my build. It is actually my friend's build, but I wanted to show it off and kind of give people a general idea of how the deck actually works. This was a build that I actually asked him to help kind of. Well, originally it was a build that he had actually used to play in a tournament. I think it was like Mario's Gaming World tournament. But I wanted to see if I could maybe try it out and see if it worked out. So I basically built a version of his deck. So all credit of this deck right now, as of now, goes to my friend for helping me build it. Shout out to my friend Brock for the help with it because this deck is really cool. And I honestly like I just had such a hard time trying to make this deck because before I kind of went back and forth, looking at other profiles, trying to distill all the information and maybe make my version of it. But it's just every time I tried, it just never worked, and this deck just kind of hated me when I did that. So I just went to my friend and just asked him, so like, how does D Brigade work? Like now, like how does it function now with all the new security stuff, all the new support and all that? And this is what this is what he showed me essentially. Though the only difference, I do not have a Suamon. I had to replace that with a Missimon, but his deck profile does have a Suamon instead because it gives that extra plus 2,000. But for me, I only have this, so I kind of had to use this as a replacement. But let's actually get into the deck profile so you can actually see how this deck works. So first we have the Missimon, of course, and then we run the 4 Pagumon because your Commandromons are going to be dying a lot, and this will give you an extra search power. Like when they die, not only if it's the searcher Commandromon, you get to get 2 searches. So you get to look at the top card. Usually, I like to trigger this first. In testing, I liked triggering this first because that way, you don't whiff into something, especially if you go into like a Darkdramon, which is perfect, and then you start searching the top 3 for another Commandromon. That usually works better. But 4 and 1 is actually a really good ratio so far in testing. I liked it. This comes up occasionally, but not really that much. This comes up all the time, so having this at 4 is really useful. That's all the eggs we run. Let's get into the rookies. We are of course running the 16 Commandromons. We're running the original Commandromon. We're running the starter deck Commandromon, the awesome Searcher from BT4, and the new blocker from BT5. These guys are crucial. Honestly, how this deck works, you do not cut down on any of these. You keep exactly 16. You want to see this as often as possible, especially when you're searching with this one from the BT4 set. So just this is solid. Don't ever change any of this. Um, yeah, but we do run like 2 other rookies though, aside from the Commandromons. We do run the 2 Hagurumons. This is actually a cool tech that my friend actually was trying out, and I actually really like the idea of it. So I was like, okay, why not? Let's just show it off. This is a really cool card because it basically says any machine or cyborg, which is basically this entire deck. So you will always get this, and even if you don't have one in hand, you can discard the other one and still get the plus off of it. So it's really nice. I like it. And then also 2 Draco mods. Originally, I was running 4 of this, but my friend said that it's like at 4, it's kind of like weird. Like having just 2 already is already plenty enough. And the fact that, because you're searching for Commandramon himself, this is not really a good hit. And in my previous build, actually, I did have an issue with that. So keeping this at 2, I really like it. It's very cool, especially since it grabs almost every other card except for Hagurumon. So really nice. That's all the rookies we run for the deck. We run about let's see, 16, like 20. So it's actually this deck is kind of like a rookie rush, but with like way more options. It's basically kind of like how the bond decks work, where they just have like one big dude that they can bring out later on along with the rookies to basically just kind of go for game. Though the only downside is that we do not, or the difference actually, not the downside. It's the only difference is that we don't have hybrids yet. We have one black hybrid coming out soon, but he's not really that great. But at the same time, I'm assuming probably D-Brigade might be able to incorporate it at some point. But for now, we're kind of doing it a different way. We're doing 4 Sealsdramon. We're doing a lot of security Digimon actually. So we have the Sealsdramon, we have the 3 Nanimons, we have the 3 Cordramons, and then we have the 2 Geograys. Originally, my friend's build did not have the Geograys. He had something else in here instead. I think he had but when we're discussing how the deck would be, and kind of workshopping the deck, the better idea is to get Geo Grays out. I think he had a fourth Nenimon. I'm not like quoting it on anything. I'm just trying to remember the night we were building this. We decided that 2 Geo Grays is really nice because it helps like deal with any like basically like if your opponent swings into this through a rookie, the rookie dies, and then this comes out and pops another rookie if they have another one on board. So it's really nice. And then Quadramon, of course, you have to keep at least at 3 or 4 for that draw power. And then Nanimon is there for that extra kind of like security push. And in testing, this is actually I've actually won matches because my opponent hit into this, and then it just came out, and then they're like, oh no, I have no blockers. So I just swung for game with this and the Commandramon. So it was really like it was honestly really solid. We this is basically all the level 4s we run at the moment. We're running let's see, 4, 6. We're running exactly 12. And a majority of them are security Digimon, which is really nice because it kind of gives that little bit of aggression. But at the same time, with the 4 Sealsdramon, you can actually memory choke your opponent with this by evolving it onto a Commandramon that you already have out. Like let's say you're at 1 and you evolve, then you just put them at 1. So it's really nice. Like I like the idea that you can just memory choke by just evolving into that thing. So really nice. We don't run any low fives in this build. We actually run instead. Like we just skip up to level 6 and we run the 4 Dark Dramons, of course, because you know this is a D-Brigade deck. This card is really awesome. The fact that you can just recycle your deck continuously. Like I actually had a match with my friend when he was playing this deck, and he recycled his deck I think at least maybe 15 times. Like honestly, I feel it was 15 times because he played this like so often that by the time I actually decked out using security control, and that's kind of like the opposite you want to do with security control against this deck because it just like the recycling just hurts that deck because no matter what you do, you can't wipe it out. You can't deck them out, which is really cool. Also, the fact that this guy has rush, the rush is insane because then you just get to swing, he survives, and then you of course evolve maybe like a level 7 on top of him, and you just get more benefits off that. So really solid card. Gotta have 4 of this. That's all the level 6s we run. Let's go into oh, actually, no, my bad. We also still run one more. We run one Magnetramon. Originally in my old build, as I was mentioning before, this is a really good card, and I did run it at 3, but honestly, I feel like 1 or 2, especially now after through testing, I like it more at 1, maybe 2, depending on the matchup. But I like having it at this kind of ratio because potentially you can brick yourself with this, and it's just kind of dead in your hand, and you can't really do anything unless they swing into your security. So there's no point to it. Just 1 or 2 should be good. In my friend's build, he does have 1 here, so it's fine. I actually like it because it comes in really clutch moments when you need it, and then when you don't need it, you don't have to see it as often, which is really cool. But yeah, that's actually all the level 6s now. Let's go into level 7s. We only run 2 level 7s. We run 2 Zwart defeats. This is really cool to evolve on Darkdramon because you basically get to play this for like 3 costs, go to 0, then attack, and then evolve, and then you got this big dude that can like delete something on board. So really nice. So essentially with Darkdramon, you do get the benefit of both his effects, which is really sweet. Yeah, but that's basically all the Digimon in this build. Let's get into the options. We aren't running too many options because you know we're already running a lot of Digimon. Um, we run 3 Ultimate Flares, 3 Iron Fist Onslaught, and the last option card. Originally it was an Ice Wall, but through chat, me and my friend Brat were discussing the potential of this card. Dark Roar. This card is actually in testing, this card is actually pretty insane because sometimes you can have a board of up to like maybe four, maybe five Commandramons, and this card makes it so that you can delete any Digimon with a play cost of three, right? But it says for each Digimon with D-Brigade and its type on your board, you can add +1 to the maximum play cost. So essentially, if you have four, this deletes any seven cost. Or if you have more than that, like five or six, maybe even like a whole board of just like the blockers and all the little guys, you can potentially put this up to like 10 or higher. So there's the potential for this to like basically become more powerful depending on your board. So I kind of like that, and it's guaranteed to kill a rookie. So if your opponent hits into this and they don't have anything that negates options, you're basically killing that one last hit that they have, and you could potentially come back next turn and kill them. But yeah, I like how this works together. It's really good. Dart Raw is still cool because I've been wanting to use this card for so long, and I feel like now is probably a good idea to try it out. Then for Tamers, we run three Izzy and Joes because we want our opponent to essentially give us more memory. And it's funny because this card also in almost every match I've ever like used this card in any deck, my opponent always has to kind of play around this, so they always kind of commit to just one big dude, and these cards usually can take care of their one big dude, and you're gonna see this in hand. So it's just really awesome because then if they overextend and they want to try and go for a game, this will give you more memory and you could potentially come back and beat them with it. Plus the fact that a majority of your Digimon, aside from the security Digimon, Dracomon, and Magnadramon or what, and Omni, this you can trigger this, and if you have multiples, you can just trigger this and draw like three cards. So you are in a really good advantage if that happens. And then for the last tamer, we have one Izzy and Joe because we do want to see what our next three cards are so we can kind of arrange them. We're already doing some stacking thanks to Dartdramon because he returns 5 D-Brigades onto the top of the deck in any order. So it's cool that you have this along with this, so then you can just kind of continuously rearrange your deck and just kind of keep the momentum going. And in a lot of the test matches, uh, the the thing with how this deck goes is that once you have all the 5 D-Brigades that you need to basically get this guy off, you're just going to continuously recycle this guy nonstop over and over and over and over. So as long as you just keep getting Dark Dramons, you're just going to keep going and going until your opponent basically runs out of cards, because no matter what, you basically do not run out of steam. Unless, like, even if they can, like, get into your security, by that time you can just play multiple blockers because you can just recycle your Seals Dramons and just keep going. It's honestly really insane, and I can see why this deck has been kind of topping recently because it's just it's like rookie. It's, I would honestly put it on the level of Bond decks, but it's just the only downside is that being black, it still does have a disadvantage. Like, Gabumon is incredibly broken, especially when he comes out and he can just bottom deck stuff. That really hurts this deck too. Um, Agumon popping something and then trashing the security, that's also another issue. But at the same time, this deck, I feel like, actually is faster than both of them because both the bond decks or the top decks require a lot of setup. It requires a lot of pieces. This one is just 5 D-Brigades. That's it. That's all you need. And you have like 16, no, you have like at least 20 D-Brigade cards in this deck. So no matter what, you're just going to set up faster than them. And the fact that the basic strategy of this deck when you don't have Darkdermont is to just rush. Most bond decks and Jesmon decks are not fast enough to do that at first. They have to kind of search, go, like, especially if they don't have a good hand. You can take advantage of that and just kind of go off and basically destroy their security and then just go for a game with Darkdramon. Because by that time, your board is basically clear, so that way Aguban can't get plus off you. I mean, it's going to get 2 security, but at the same time, unless they have Delicate Plan, they are not going to be able to survive it. So it's just really nice how this deck works. And of course, if they hit the security Digimon, they're basically putting more aggression on them. Because then you have a guy on board and they have to get rid of it. And if they don't get rid of it, next turn they're losing a security or losing a Digimon. So I like the idea of this deck. It's very rush oriented, very aggro, but at the same time, it can control the board really well. So it's really nice. Like, I love unconventional means because essentially this deck is a rookie rush deck. So I just like how it works because with me it's like leveling up is great, but I don't want it to be the main focus of the deck because then if you're missing in a lot of my other deck profiles, I've express the idea that I like decks that summon stuff and do stuff differently from normal, like, leveling up decks, because the problem with those kinds of decks is that if you're missing that crucial piece, it's going to be really rough and you have to kind of go to your plan B, which really sucks. But here it's like you have like three plans. You have the Rookie Rush, you have the Dart Dramon, and then you have like the healing here and the security Digimon. So you have enough to essentially keep yourself alive compared to the other decks where they just kind of have to like stall it with blue. They're obviously going to play multiple ice walls to kind of stall it out. But here it's like you can just keep rushing and it won't really matter because it's like, okay, cool. You gave me three ice walls. I'll just swing once and that's it. Or I can just evolve and just memory choke. So honestly, I really like this deck and how it works. Honestly, I say give it a try. Originally I loved this deck and then it kind of didn't work for me for a while, so I switched over. But it's really solid now. All credits of this deck, as I said before, still goes to my friend Brock. He actually helped me build this deck, and it's honestly it was really nice. I tested it yesterday, not in a tournament, but casually. It was very good. It did exactly what I wanted to do. Just swing for game. Very nice. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Leave a comment. Like let me know what you thought of the deck. Maybe any advice to maybe like fix it or anything, because as I've said many times and at the end of every deck profile, I want to improve this deck. I want it to be really good. I want it to be able to be meta at least, or at least compete in my locals so that so that I can at least have some fun with it. But anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time.